In this section, we will be looking at what drives athletes while also considering the self-determination theory. For a coach to understand how to motivate their team, they must first determine what motivates them to give their best effort. This chart is a well-defined illustration of the continuum of self-determination and behaviors. There are two types of motivation, intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic motivation originates within us, our drive to do something for pleasure absent outside pleasures. Extrinsic motivation is activated by an outside force. We possess both types of motivation, neither is exclusive, but as coaches, we desire for our players to possess intrinsic motivation, realizing that both types of motivation will be present. These two types of motivation are often viewed as oppositional, but the truth is that our motives or actions usually contain both types. As coaches, our goal is to build an internal or intrinsic motivation in our players. The intention is to create a culture where the things that we feel we must do become enjoyable activities. When athletes see the positive results of things they are pushed to perform, they become more intrinsically motivated and less extrinsically motivated. When we are in control of our daily lives and inputs, we become more passionate and committed. Measured positive results create higher levels of effort. The theory behind self-determination theory is that we have three innate psychological needs. They are competence, autonomy, and relatedness. The more that each of these three needs is met, the more the task becomes intrinsic and enjoyable. Our job as coaches is to create an atmosphere where activities are enjoyable and produce positive, visible results. When the players feel they have some ability to make their own choices and not operate robotically, they will respond positively. If practice is a dreaded task, the level of intrinsic motivation is lowered, and all activity is, quote unquote, going through the motions to get coach off our back. Be sure to build a practice that is intense, measurable, fun, competitive, and where players engage with each other. This slide illustrates the three basic psychological needs that the coach should provide. The more these needs are fulfilled, the more the players perceive the task as intrinsic, enjoyable, and feel they give a stronger effort each day. The characteristics that coaches wish to have in their team are shown above. These are the marks of an intrinsically motivated player, the intrinsic athlete. A motivation is doing something because you are forced to. External regulation is doing it because you want a reward. Introjection is an ego-driven and doing something to prove you can do it while seeking praise. Identification or identified regulation is when a person recognizes the value of an activity and chooses to do it willingly, like shopping with a store loyalty card. Integrated regulation is the sense of self, the desire to wear the uniform identifying with other athletes for self-esteem purposes. One of the daily goals for practice is daily improvement. When athletes give their best effort, their performance improves. This is why practice should contain measurable activities so the athlete can track their improvements. When the coach helps the athlete to set personal goals, it makes this process much better and offers higher levels of improvements. Establishing improvement with measurable targets is a great way to produce internal motivation. Focus on daily improvements is magic. One of the best ways to discover what motivates athletes is to simply ask. Coaches who have preseason and postseason meetings with each player is a great way to motivate them. Giving them your time creates a relationship of trust and gives them a sense of worth. There is no substitute for knowing your athlete. Ask questions before establishing goals. Staying positive greatly helps Generation Z athletes to stay focused. We all know that there are times when the coach has to be the demanding, emotional, intense figure that drives the team. This is an appropriate behavior, but when it becomes too frequent, it just builds a sense of dread and stills the self-determination that drives athletes. Sometimes we need to cloud up and rain on them, but they need sunshine and fair weather too. Use this tactic sparingly and it remains effective. Two principal tasks on the positive coach are: 1, helping athletes see their improvements, and 2, providing helpful feedback in a way that they can accept it. Remember that the coach has 3 inputs: 1, instruction; 2, feedback; and 3, motivation. In this scenario, 1 and 2 create 3. Motivation follows good coaching. Athletes need to feel some sense of control and input into their training before practice sessions. Coaches are the control agents for practice and balance their control with the developmental needs of the player and with the situation at hand. More control is needed when a new activity or drill is introduced, but the coach becomes the facilitator during the drill portion of practice. Coaches always provide feedback which is constructive, honest, and straightforward. Remember, this feedback includes visual, audio, and kinesthetic senses. In a team sport, the individual inputs of team members has a tremendous impact on team performance, intensity, and culture. As Babe Ruth once said, teams who love one another are tough to beat. When strong relationship connections exist, motivation is increased. The connectedness is a sense of family, fellowship, and fun that form the fabric of team culture. Activities outside of practice foster this connection. Michael Jordan once said, "Every member of the team gives a piece of himself to the team." The bond of teamwork builds a strong group of motivated athletes who are willing to commit to each other. A feeling of belonging is the hallmark of winners. When players have established measurable, written, achievable, and recorded goals, it motivates them to work on improvement. When young people reach their goals because of their effort and commitment, they feel a strong sense of fulfillment. This gives the athletes confidence to do even more and climb higher in their lives, not only as athletes, but in their personal lives and ambitions as well. Goal setting is necessary and provides the confidence athletes need to believe in this process. The grind of the process is the journey that builds champions in life. Following is the speech you give to your team constantly. They need to know this is your expectation for daily player inputs and contributions. Every day, every practice, every game. Expect the following from every player. Give your best effort. This is given to your teammates. Your effort is your contribution. It is sweat equity. Strive to get a little better each time you practice. Improve daily. Track this progress. Keep up with your numbers and set these daily goals. Always be a good teammate. If you're not having a good day, do not let that affect your teammates. Always encourage them. Fill their emotional tanks with positive but true affirmations. It is your job to make your teammates better. You are your brother and sister's keeper.